Chief Executive Gary Speakman and ex-Oxford Chairman Darryl Eales hope to bring both clubs under one banner. The group has already made contact with the Ailing club's administrators. The two clubs have been under separate ownership since then Latics owner Dave Whelan sold his Rugby League share to the current owner, Chairman Lenigan, in 2007. So effectively the idea is to have a Wigan Sporting Partnership as a company, and under that company there will be separate companies that run the football club, the rugby club, the stadium, other sporting things within the town maybe in time as well. But yeah, it's relevant because it's a rugby league club trying to buy a football club, I guess.
And it might mean that you don't get kicked out of your stadium every other month.
Well, this is the weird thing about it. The company that owns the stadium has the same parent company as the company that owns the football club, but the football club is in administration. I don't believe the stadium company is in administration. And
right.
there's a strong presence within the stadium operational rules or whatever that the council have a say in still, is my understanding. So it's a bit confusing around that, but this would unite everything back together, and maybe we might see a change to some of the snap decisions to move matches. Potentially, you don't know. We would see. That's one of the potential benefits from it. I don't know if, Lenigan, Gary Speakman, they're not poor men. They've built up wealth and they are local businessmen as well, so they would have the town's best interests at heart, you would think, in any of this. Obviously, Darryl Eales worked with Lenigan at Oxford, because Ian Lenigan used to be a co-owner of Oxford as well, Oxford United Football Club, until he was the chair of the EFL, or some sort of position of seniority within the EFL, kind of a non-executive director role that he had there, Lenigan. So he's well versed with the running of the Football League and clubs within the Football League, I think, which will give him a leg up, I think, in this process, because I would imagine there might be people with more money than this group that might try and buy Wigan Athletic, but they might not have the same strategic ability to run a sports club, and the same interest in maintaining the club for the long term that some of the other prospective owners maybe would have. So it seems like they're going to be in a strong position, and like I say, that gives the rugby club maybe a more equal footing, which they lost when the football club went into the Premier League.
Yes. Well, we will see.
Did you hear that there's also potentially a Salford City, Salford Red Devils link up?
No, I hadn't heard that. No,
yeah, I saw a couple of whispers online about that potentially as well. So we could see a bit more of this going forward. Who knows?
Yeah, that the brands owning multiple sports in multiple codes is it's not unique in the world, is it? There's lots of examples in Europe and wider than that. So
yeah, definitely. Yep. From a Wigan rugby perspective, it doesn't hugely bother me, but that's because I'm not a Wiganer. I support the rugby club because they're the closest rugby club to me, not because I'm from Wigan. So the football club don't mean anything to me.
No. Either positively or negatively.
Not particularly. It doesn't evoke any strong emotions in me. But yeah, for the sake of the sporting landscape in the town, I hope that something good comes of it for Wigan Athletic that doesn't hurt Wigan Warriors. And this deal seems like, this consortium seems like that one that maybe we would see that from. We
will see. So, prop Mikel Simon will leave Catalan Dragons at the end of this season after deciding to retire. The 33-year-old has made 130 league appearances for the French team over 2 spells.
Yeah, I've seen suggestion that this is just the end of his full-time professional rugby league career, but he may rock up for one of the sort of lower French league teams in the future. So it might not be the last time we see Mikel Simon, but it'll be the last time we see him in a professional rugby league guise, maybe. But it's quite a long career. He's been playing 10 years, so So it's quite an experienced player that they have to find a way to replace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Former Wigan fullback Morgan Escarret is to move to Salford Red Devils for next season. The 28-year-old France international who left the Warriors last month has said he will move to the AJ Bell Stadium in 2021 on a 3-year deal. Escarret joined Wigan from Catalans Dragons in 2017 and scored just 14 tries in his 47 appearances. Nowhere near the strike rate he enjoyed at the Dragons, it has to be said. But the interesting part of this one for me, Alan, is from next season.
Yes. So is he a free agent now?
Yeah, Wigan released him a month ago.
Well, maybe Salford haven't got the money now.
Yeah, you'd have to think if something could happen for Castleford.
Yeah, I was just going to say
high level situation.
High level
that would open up finance and cap space in 2020 for Salford, and a need as well. Because let's face it, there's no need. So maybe that's the key here. Evolds is finishing this year with Salford. This would suggest to me.
Yes.
Which, you know what interesting possibility that opens up? Escarret on a short-term deal to Castleford. Why not? They need a fullback.
Well, if they haven't got the money to get Evolds over now, how have they got the money to pay for Escarret on a short-term deal?
Escarret's getting paid nothing right now.
So, a euro is better than nothing.
Yeah, whereas they might actually be having to pay out to get Evolds and then pay Evolds maybe more than... Because Evolds right now at Salford is on more than Escarret is on at no one.
Yes. Well, we can say that for certain.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see.
We will see. So, I must admit, I was surprised by this next one. So, Wakefield Trinity halfback Danny Brough has signed a 2-year contract with the Championship side Bradford Bulls and will join them for the 2021 season. So, the 37-year-old former Man of Steel will be reunited with head coach John Keir, who he worked with at Hull FC and Wakefield. Brough has made more than 400 Super League appearances.
Tom Andrews got in touch. He said, definitely a big name, but 39 by the time he pulls the jersey on. I'd like to say I expect him to be on big money, but we know Bradford have fuck all, so he must be doing it for the love of it. That's what Tom has to say.
Well, it won't be Super League money, I'll tell you that.
I feel like it is for the not wanting to hang up your boots of it, isn't it? Surely.
At 37, yes, I would say so.
He's got nothing left to prove in terms of what he could prove in the Championship. Surely, he's won the Man of Steel. He's had a great international career with Scotland, albeit the chance of playing for a Tier 1 nation is definitely gone, and it's unlikely for him to be picked up by a team that will compete for Super League glory. So.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, I would hope that John Keir would be more than just somebody who reminisces about previous relationships, and that there was a shrewd decision behind bringing him in.
Maybe the person who's reminiscing about previous relationships is Danny Brough, because let's face it, he's going back to where it all started for him. He made his big break in as a first team player in Dewsbury.
What he wants to do, he just wants to go back to the Tetley Stadium.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. It was either us or the Rams.
But it is a notable signing for Bradford Bulls, isn't it?
It is. It just leaves me with more questions than answers. It depends what the next obviously story is linked to this, which I'm a bit more kind of confident about. I don't know. I'll be brutally honest. I don't like signing players who are over 35. I think it's unless they're people like Steve Menzies, then they're risks as investments, and I never. It worries me slightly.
It all depends on how much he's getting paid, how well he'll work with Jordan Lilly, assuming he's still at the Bulls next year.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah, you've got quite different personalities there. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think you've probably got quite similar personalities.
Well, Lily doesn't spend as much time on the sideline as Danny does, but yeah, it's. I'm yet to be convinced by the signing, I have to say.
Fair enough. Another piece of Bradford Bulls news: young hooker and vice captain Sam Hallis has signed a new 12-month contract extension with the club, keeping him with John Keir's side until the end of the 2021 season. The 23-year-old joined the club ahead of the 2017 season and has become a mainstay in the Bulls lineup ever since. He hasn't missed a game so far in 2020, which hasn't been hard. Only played about 6 of them, or 7.
No, but I mean, he was very good for us last year. Played very, very well in the cup victory over Leeds. I'm happy that Hallis is staying. He's the kind of guy we need, and I think, yeah.
A good player in his main position, but a player who's willing to put his hand up and play in other positions when the team needs it as well.
Yeah, and he's got that. He's got that mongrel kind of instinct in him as well, which is exactly what you want in your hookers, really. So yeah, I'm happy with keeping him.
Staying in Dewsbury, Dewsbury have announced the agreement. No, it's your news story. I just wanted to do that segue.
Can't let it lie. So Dewsbury, a completely different entity to Bradford Bulls, have announced the agreement of a new of a 2-year contract with their coach Lee Greenwood. So the former All Golds coach arrived at the Rams ahead of the 2019 season and guided them to championship safety. They made a positive start to the 2020 campaign, lest we forget, winning 4 from 6 in league and cup before the season was suspended. Good for him.
Yeah, he seems like a decent coach as well. He had All Goals playing some decent rugby with a ramshackled side, didn't he, a few years back as well?
Yeah.
Featherstone have completed the permanent signing of League youngsters Louis McConnell and Liam Whitten. The pair have made the switch following this week's announcement, spoiler alert, that the reserves competition will not return in 2021. Both McConnell and Whitten have turned out for Rovers in the past, most recently in pre-season fixtures against York and Leeds. If you're playing in a pre-season game against your parent club, they're not really your club, are they?
Yeah, I was going to say, how tenuous does the link have to be? So Rochdale have announced a new 1-year contract for captain Sean Penkovic. The 38-year-old hooker made his debut with Halifax in 2000 and earned international honours with Wales in 2007 and 8. Penkovic also enjoyed spells with Huddersfield, Leeds, Toronto and Workington prior to arriving at Scotland ahead of this season.
I don't remember him being at Huddersfield.
He's had a lot of clubs.
He has.
Not as many as some.
Well, because he had a band, didn't he? In the middle there.
He had a sabbatical as well.
Former Wigan and Batley star Sean Haynes. Actually, one more point on Penkovic, and it applies to Brough too. Whenever people older than me get like new deals in the news, I'm happy about that. It keeps me feeling young.
It's not too late.
Former Wigan and Batley star Sean Ainscoe has signed a 12-month contract extension with Rochdale Hornets.
And also in Rochdale, they've now announced the signing of Swinton Lions halfback Rob Fairclough for the 2021 season on a 2-year deal. The 22-year-old former St Helens junior is in his 3rd season with the Lions since originally joining on loan in 2018, but will make the switch to Rochdale next year. And
finally, in Rochdale Hornets news, forward Gavin Bennion will leave Swinton for Rochdale in 2021. The former Salford player Bennion will work full-time at the Hornets as the club's new talent, pathway and community engagement officer alongside his playing duties.
Yep. So Rochdale getting things sorted out on the field as they get things sorted out off the field.
Yeah, I think these last 2 stories have prompted another club that are getting things sorted out off the fields but are yet to maybe be as proactive on the field. The Swinton Lions board to have to release a statement to basically say stop abusing us on social media, we'll sort some out.
Right.
But yeah, I can understand when you're losing a halfback and one of your leaders in Bennion as well. Why the Swinton
it's going to raise questions.
Concerned, but
Yep. So the 16th team that will compete in next year's Euro 13's tournament have been announced. The Norwegian club Stavanger will take their place in the inaugural knockout competition alongside new and established teams from across Europe. So the full list is